Hi, and welcome to the ChattGolf.com podcast. Today we have a special guest, somebody I've just gotten to know recently, just through our tournament golf. But anyway, it's the 2022 Senior TPC Champion, Brett Douglas. Well, it has a good ring to it, doesn't it, Brett?
Yes.
So, the first question that everybody's going to ask, was asking me, is why in the heck, or how in the hell did you come up with the name Birdman? What does that have to do with?
Well, the first question they're really going to ask is who won the 2021 Chattanooga TPC Senior Championship?
Well, luckily I got by a couple guys out there, and I did win. I was kind of thinking I might win this year, and then all of a sudden you took care of that for everybody.
Well, Richard Keene, he's pretty good.
Well, we'll get into that in just a minute.
Okay.
Like I said, the first thing we want to ask you about, how did you get the name Birdman?
Dr. B.
Oh.
The great Dr. B.
The great Dr. B.
Gary Haskew. I was going to get into this later, but I was pretty much into photography for a while there, mainly taking pictures of birds. And so Dr. B labeled me the Birdman. Well, and I liked it because not only did it have to do with photography, it also had to do with golf. So
is it kind of a cross there? And
he's given a lot of nicknames, and some good, some bad. Birdman's about as good as I was going to be able to do, so I went with that.
Well, so there it is. It has, I did do a little research today and found some stuff where you taking some pictures and a pretty big background in photography. There was another question. Well, it's not even a question. It's just a fact that you are a huge Donald Trump supporter.
That is incorrect. You need to check your sources there, my friend.
Well, if for people that don't know, if you follow Brett or friends of Brett on Facebook, you will realize his love for Donald Trump is not so deep.
Yeah, I like Charles Manson more than I like Trump, but
Well,
Charlie's dead, so sympathies to the whole Manson family.
All right, so let's do some serious questions.
Okay.
When did you start playing golf?
1983, about 39 years ago.
Wow, so that's the year I graduated from high school.
Yeah, there you go.
So you were,
I didn't start playing until after. I was like 23 years old.
Yeah, so you're 63, right?
I'm 63,
and
that's
I'm
correct.
57, so you're 6 years older than me. All right, so tell me about how you got into it.
I'd say through putt-putt first, miniature golf.
Right.
I used to do that. I was pretty good putter.
So you just went with friends and did that?
Yeah, I always liked the idea of golf. My grandfather, when we were little, he would take us, to play just a few holes, and so.
So your grandfather was the first one that put a club in your hand?
Yeah, and we had some old clubs laying around the basement, so, started whacking those old wooden things with the whipping on them, coming off of them. So anyway, I just started that way and just decided I was going to play golf, and so I started doing it.
You remember where he took you first? Which course?
Where he took me was usually up in Cincinnati, a little executive course. And then as I started playing and I'd go up to visit and I got better, this thing was like par 57 or something. And I'd come in, I'd shoot a 65, and I thought I was
you were
Jack Nicklaus.
You were jamming there.
And I remember my grandmother, I would say, "Hey, grandmother, I had a 65." And she'd say, "Well, did you have any hole-in-ones?" And I'd say, "No." And she'd say, "Oh, well, maybe better luck next time." Because to her, that was the thing. So now to me, that's the thing.
That was I saw something the other day make me think of that Kip, our mutual friend Kip Henley, and he was in a Twitter debate with somebody who said that they were counting their hole-in-ones at a par 3, and Kip was telling them that was not.
No, you can't do that.
All right, so you said that, are you originally from Cincinnati?
No, I'm from Chattanooga.
Okay, so your grandfather was in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Okay, so we started doing that. Where was your first place you remember playing here in Chattanooga?
Concord.
The Cord.
Yeah, I went out to Concord. I thought that was a real golf course. So I went out there and shot a little 87, and I thought, I'm ready to go,
this
baby.
Is good. This is no problem.
Actually, it might have been higher than that. The 87, the first time I ever played Moccasin Bend was probably real length golf, 6,000 yards. Right. I'm like, whoa, and I did shoot 87 there the first time.
Well, I tell you, Moccasin Bend has surely gotten a lot better, hasn't it?
Oh, you're not kidding. Now it's elite, almost.
It is really good.
I mean, best conditioned fairways in town, pretty much counting even the private courses, except for maybe some Zoysia fairways somewhere. But
yeah, what
Buddy's
done with Moccasin Bend is really great. I hope they're going to get Buddy on here one night. and do one of these episodes with him, how he kind of
that'd be
transitioned
good.
between 2 golf courses.
Yeah, with the new greens, it's pretty pure out there.
All right, so your grandfather introduced you. Let's just step back a little bit out of golf for a second, only because we both graduated from the same high school. We got to give our old Big Red a plug. You graduated in Baylor in 1977. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
They had some pretty good players back then over on that team. They had Pat Corey was there, Doug Stein. Any other guys?
Mitch probably played there.
That's right, Mitch Huffstetler.
Yeah, easy for you to say.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, and of course I think you took him down too en route to that piece of glass we got over here.
3 and 2.
Oh, in case we forget. Actually, I got to watch that one firsthand.
Yeah. You were in the process of playing Richard.
Was that? I guess it was that match. Yeah, that's right. So we're going to do more. Let's get through the couple of these questions, and we'll talk about more about the TPC. So you kind of touched on it earlier, but our friend Jeff Sherrill, our mutual friend, would say that you do have some serious photographing game.
Yes, I'd say, like as a golfer, I'm just I'm about a 3 handicap, which is better than most, but not elite.
Oh, here comes all this poor talk.
But as a photographer, I am at least a +5, boys, and that ain't no lie.
Well, you're the first guy I've ever played with that actually carried around a tripod and a camera with him.
It's actually a monopod,
and it's really great. And I'll post it on the ChatGolf.com site. The video you took at the end of the match with Richard, and we'll talk about that in a second. I thought that was pretty good. For a lot of people are here that every time I've seen you in the past and not knowing you, I was like, "Hey, what is the deal with the Expos hat, the Montreux Expos?" And you come in here wearing basically a brand new one.
Well,
so tell us about your love for the Montreux Expos, or you just love the hat?
I was always a Reds fan, but I always loved the Montreal uniform. I remember when they came in the league, I think it was '69, and had that red, white, and blue, and I just loved it. So I just wear the hat. And since I started wearing it, I can't go anywhere without somebody commenting on the hat. And I've worn a hat all my life. Nobody ever said anything about my hats, whatever I was wearing, Reds hat, golf hat. But now they're like, oh, go Expos. And I've even had people say, go Mets. Or you go to Vegas and you see people from Canada and they're all like, they're speaking French to you, And I'm like, man.
You're the only guy I know wearing one.
I even had a guy downtown one time. I'm walking down the street and this guy's honking at me and I thought, what does this dude want? He rolls down his window and says, go Expos. I'm like, so it's a conversation piece. So I wear it. And now it's kind of my trademark.
Oh,
so
I love it. I mean,
you gotta have control of your branding.
Yes,
that's the main thing. You got to have something.
And now that
I got my Birdman nickname. I got my Expos hat. I mean, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and the thing is that as you become so popular, in such a force in the Chattanooga senior game, you need some branding, and you got somebody to manage all this for you.
I've been to courses in Alabama, and people roll up in the parking lot, and go Birdman. And they see the hat.
I love it. I love the Birdman stuff. Let's talk a little bit about now the one thing that's made you famous is this Chattanooga TPC. Tell me how you felt about your game going into it.
Not overly optimistic. I asked Mike Jenkins, who runs the local golf scene here in Chattanooga. I remember asking him at Brainerd because I didn't hear anything about the TPC this year, and I said, Mike, is the TPC still a thing? And he said, yeah, we still got the points and everything. So I thought, well, I probably won't qualify. And I think I was like 9th on the points list. And I was thinking they'd only take 8,
right.
In the senior division.
You didn't realize that they did the qualifier.
Yeah, they do like 12, and they exempt 2 people.
Right. So what they do is they invite. I think 16 was invited, and then the first round is a qualifier for
right.
Basically, they have 8 people make match play, and so the top 2 point getters, which was Joe Markham and Bob Rice, they were exempt into the match play. So that you and me and a bunch of other guys
going for 6 spots.
So I think it ended up being maybe it was 12 or 13 guys for 6 spots.
Yeah.
It's funny that we all laugh because Richard Keene had bogeyed the last hole
and barely got in
and completely flipped the whole bracket the way it was going to look.
Right.
And it made it look, so all of a sudden you had me and him and Joe Markham all on the same side, and everybody's going, well, this is
stacked
stacked on one side and everything. But it turns out that you end up defeating almost all the top seeds and
all
the top
favorites.
players.
I was not a favorite in any of the matches. Let's put it that way.
So you shot what did I remember?
I shot 75 to qualify.
Right, that was a pretty good score.
Yeah,
because
not
I
bad.
played pretty well and shot 72, and I thought it played really tough. The wind was blowing hard, and the greens were super fast.
Oh yeah.
The golf course was long. I mean, it really did play long, and you're not long.
No, that's what I've heard. I am probably, pound for pound, the shortest hitter in Chattanooga. Dr. B used to claim that title, but he's no longer with us, so I inherited it.
Well, you're the new Ed. You're the new Ed Brantley. Just
exactly,
dead straight.
Exactly.
Dead straight, and putt obviously great. So your first match, you go right up against Bob Rice,
number 2 seed.
And number 2 seed, and Bob has played great this year.
Yeah.
Bob and I have played each other. Golly, it seems like we got in tons of duels this year, and Bob's a good player, very steady.
Well, yeah. Well, backing up a little bit, you asked me my expectations. I was just surprised to get the invite. And Mike Jenkins texted me, and he says, "Hey, you're invited." And I said, "In." Before he even finished hitting send, I was already replying. I said, "I'm in." So I thought, hey, you go over there and play Council Fire, a day. That'll be fun.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
You go shoot 75. And
I don't know about last year was my first one. I got my amateur status back 2 years ago, and so then last year was kind of my first full year playing. And when I got that, I didn't get that invitation until I won the Chattanooga 4-ball at Moxon Bend.
Right.
With Neil Spatani and I wasn't even supposed to play in that division. I was going to play in the regular division with a guy named Winston Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Winston, the night before, pulls out.
He's won it before, and then the regular division.
Yeah, there you go.
4-ball.
So, anyway, so Spatani and I would go out, and we win that, and then I get a text the next day like you did, and I didn't even think twice about it. Mike said, you got enough points that just for that victory would you want to play? And I'm like, you in?
Yeah, I'm in.
So, and that worked out well. All right, so we get through qualifying. You get Bob first. Tell me how that match goes. I mean, are you up early? Or,
no,
I know y'all want extra holes.
Yeah, he had me 2 down at the turn. I remember that. I was down in every one of my matches.
Yeah, we'll get to that last one here.
But, he had me 2 down at the turn, fought back. We tied through 18 and went to number 1. And I got him there. So, 19 holes.
Did y'all play? Both of you play pretty good, or not? The golf course
it was playing
difficult.
tough. It was playing tough. I don't think either one of us had a birdie.
Yeah.
And that's hard to believe because we're decent players. We're going to have usually three or four
I'll tell
birdies.
you what, it was,
but that day, no, there was no birdies out there. I couldn't find them anyway.
I know my first round match. I played a guy who plays at Brainerd, and I couldn't remember his name.
Cox.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff Cox.
Jeff Cox. Yeah, he can hit it.
He can hit it. Yeah, and we both played okay. But there weren't a lot of birdies being made, that's for sure.
Yeah. Jeff can play. I played with him at Cleveland, man. I was impressed. He
he
doesn't miss a shot. He's like me. He doesn't have the most stylistic golf swing.
No, he gets
but
it done.
Man, every time you look up, he's up there 15 feet from the hole putting birdie.
No, he's a solid player, and you're right. I just first, I'd met him at the Tennessee Senior Am up at in Johnson City this year. He came up and we talked for a little bit, and then we get paired together. So it was good to see. He's a super great guy.
Oh yeah, nice guy.
I understand his son's really good player too.
His son can bomb it now.
Well, I'm glad he's young.
He would fly you. And
we don't need no bombers.
Zeb's a long hitter. Ryan Cox is gonna fly him.
Oh well.
Of course, he's a young.
We want no part of that.
Yeah, he's a limberback. So what do you expect?
So your next match is with
Mitch Hufstetler, another great guy.
And I got to watch this one firsthand. I kind of didn't get to watch as much of it. I had my hands full getting my rear end dusted by Richard.
Oh yeah, that was that day.
But and the background noise is there's our little watchdog here, Ace.
Birdman's been looking for his 5th ace. Now this might be the one. I may take Ace home with me.
Well,
ain't that right?
All right, so we'll pick back up with your match with Mitch.
Yeah, I've played a lot of golf with Mitch just over the years through different tournaments. He and I both enter a lot of the local tournaments, so sometimes we get paired together. And Mitch is Mitch is one of your best seniors in town. Has been. He's won a lot of stuff. So I was just out there having a good time with Mitch, and he also had me a couple down early, but somehow I managed to battle back and 3-2. You never know.
You never know.
But match play's a different game. It's a different animal than stroke play. Stroke play, I get out there and I'll make, in the course of a round, I'll have a couple of doubles or something, and
which you wouldn't think.
You're fighting to get that back.
You're pretty steady.
Yeah, but you can make I'll have a big hole. Lord, the worst was at Macklemore in the Metro when they had the Metro there. Made a 12 on the second hole.
Oh Lord!
Joe Scruggs can attest to that one. He was a witness. Second hole, you make a 12, you're 8 over. Or actually, I bogeyed the first hole and made a 12 on number 2. I'm 9 over through 2.
Perfect.
The first round of a 2-round tournament. I'm like, this is not good.
It's gonna be a long.
But match play, that's just I'm 2 down.
Let's
keep going.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of just put my nose down and just grind away.
Hey, I'm not the best ball striker. I'm a pretty good putter. Hit the ball pretty straight. But I learned this about myself in match play. I am a dog. In other words,
absolutely,
I'm coming after you. I don't care, if I'm 4 down, whatever. I'm not giving up until we shake hands.
Well, let's just talk about some 4 down. So we beat Mitch, and and then Richard beats me. So it's you two, and one of the things that's is odd about the chat. Well, not odd. It's just the way it works out. Is that you play your first couple matches in qualifying in the afternoon.
Yeah,
and then
Mike tells us, be here at 8:00 tomorrow. Y'all are teeing off.
We did that last year too
in the frost,
and we did the exact same thing. And I'm in a toboggan. And,
we had our toboggans on the first hole.
So it's
frost. The rough is
and
got
now
frost
all of a sudden,
on.
that helps Richard out even more against you.
Yeah, and the
He's
greens
longer,
are rolling about a 14.5.
Sure.
8:00 in the morning, they're perfect.
When I played Tom Schreiner, it was just that way. It was so cold and all right. So you're playing Richard. He's won this thing. I don't know how many times he's won it.
Yeah,
he's had a good year. He won the Cleveland Invitational. Beat me and Markham in the playoff.
Yeah, Richard's been beating my butt for 39 years, so I knew what I was up against there.
And so I'm sitting there watching on my phone, checking in on the match, and look at it. You're 4 down through 7.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, this is not going so well.
Hey, I don't even think he had to putt until like the 4th hole. Well, first 2 holes he wins, I'm just all over the place. I can't even feel my hands,
Right.
And then somehow I make a par on 3 to get back to 1, and then he wins 4 and 5. And I was actually apologizing to him on the 5th hole. I said, I'm sorry, Richard, I can't give you a better match than this. And it,
sure.
In hindsight, looked like maybe gamesmanship or something, but it wasn't. I just couldn't even hit the ball.
Right. There's a point, when you're out there playing and you're trying as hard as you can, and then you almost. It's not like you give up, but you kind of do.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you start playing better.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have anything to lose at this point, and I hit.
You're 4 down, and
on the 6th hole, I hit a shot, and I hit it right behind the hole on that par 3. And I'm like 6 feet behind the hole. Well, Richard hits it up there. He makes a par. I'm trying to make it. I just tap this ball.
You're trying to 2-putt.
Yeah, I tap it.
From 6 feet.
I tap it and knock it 12 feet past. Or I didn't knock it. I just started it, and it rolled 12 feet past. And I 3-putt the hole. And that puts me 4 down through 6.
Oh, gosh. You finally hit a good shot.
And so I'm like, well, at least I hit a good shot. At least I did that.
So you go to you're
that's through 7.
That's through 7.
Yeah.
And then now you're gonna play 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah.
The 3 toughest holes.
8, I hit it in the bunker, made a great up and down to win the hole. I think
3 down.
And then 9 a birdie. So back to 2 at the turn.
So
not
now,
terrible.
We go to 10, and I look at my phone, and I
saw, there's a glitch here in the Golf Genius software.
Somebody can't enter scores properly.
Man, both of us were trying to.
One had a 10, and one had a 9.
That was 8 and 9.
8 and 9.
I won the hole with an 8. It's a par 4, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a par 5. It's a par 4.
So, how many balls out of bounds do we have here?
Well, Richard was in the left tree. I was right down the middle.
So no provisional off the tee.
Oh no,
and we're gonna make an 8. We're gonna make an 8
We
and
struck
9
the ball 17 times. Yes.
Oh my!
And I hit my second shot to the right with like a 3-wood. You do not want to be down there in the trees. So I'm in the trees. So I chip it out behind the green in 3. Richard's short of the green. He may have left one short somewhere.
Okay, so let's just
we're
back
both
up a
just
second.
chunking the ball.
He is just left short of the green in 2.
Yes.
And you're just right of the green in 2.
Well, I'm in the woods in 2.
Okay, but
yeah.
that's 4. So we've hit it 4 times.
Yeah.
I've got
so far.
we hit it at 17. So if I knew my math right, we still got another 13 shots to go here.
Well, no, they got the pin like a foot from the ledge there on the very front of the green.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm back there after I chip out of the woods. I'm happy. I'm in grass. So I hit a nice little chip shot, and it just trickles all the way to the hole and past the hole and about 15 feet off the green.
So
so now I'm laying 4.
But you're like 20 feet from the hole?
Yeah, but I'm off the green. I'm
okay.
10 yards from
I'm
the
just
green.
checking. So we got.
Yeah.
You're gonna win this hole with 8. So
Richard.
more to go.
Richard has chunked his chip or something, and so he hits his 4th shot on the green. He's probably 15 feet laying 4. I'm laying 4 off the green.
Oh, this is. Is anybody out there watching this?
Mike Jenkins is.
We should call Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, can you elaborate on this?
Mike, Anyway, so I chip it up there, and I'm about 15 feet. Now I'm laying 5. So I was just inside of Richard. I was probably 10 feet. Richard hits a nice little putt down there. It does exactly what my ball does. Rolls off the green. He almost ends up in my divot down there.
Oh, no.
So now he's laying whatever, 5 or 6 or who knows.
And at this point, y'all are trying to go.
We're just trying to finish the hole.
I'm sure going. He size 1.
Yeah,
we're
saying okay
3.
now.
All right, Marge, it's your turn. Betty, Marge.
We're almost good.
Ladies' 9-hole day.
Hey, let's take a 7 and go on.
So
somehow I 2-putt for a 8.
8, and
he makes a 9. So
you tipped your hat to the crowd and moved on to the
yeah.
to 11. So
now we're within 1.
2 down.
No, let's see.
Well, you went
2.
Well, you're 1 down now.
I'm 1 down.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're 1 down going to 11.
Yeah, and I birdie 11.
So you start playing. This is where
this is where
now all of a sudden.
So I'm thinking, okay, I've done everything stupid I can do.
Right.
So let's just play golf. And
of course, Richard. I know because I've done the same thing, losing a big lead. It's tough.
Well, the pressure had to be on him because it sure wasn't on me.
No.
I'd already screwed up. I'd already given him the trophy.
Like, golly, and now I'm going the wrong direction.
Yeah,
and
I think that may have happened in all 3 of my matches. I was playing so bad early that maybe the other players just kind of relaxed.
That's how it happens.
And then when I start playing good, they're like, they've been playing sloppy for a few holes. Now they can't find their swing again. I don't know. That's just a theory.
I'll tell you that happened to me a little bit this year at the senior match play at Signal. I was playing so good. I mean, it's maybe the best I can play since I've come back anyway. And I played really good against Brent. I beat Brent in the first round, and the shot I was 3 under. Heck, he played good too. He was a couple under too. So, but then. I got playing a guy, and he wasn't hitting it all that great, and I just assumed I was going to win, and that just the intensity level. When I went with Brent, I knew I had to play well. I knew it was more about me just staying focused.
Right.
I want Brent's around that golf course, good as he hits wedges and putts, and boy he did. He brought out the first hole, he wedges it to a foot. The second hole he wedges it 4 feet. I ended up making birdie. We were just making birdies like crazy. But again, then I go to the afternoon match, and I just know I'm going to win for some reason, and that's just you can't go into that. You got to just go into it, as you all know.
Yeah. Well,
so anyway, so you birdie 11, you're back to even.
Back to even. We both, I think, bogeyed 12. I hit the best bunker shot I've ever hit. It lipped the hole.
That's a hard par 3.
Yeah, I was right in the front bunker and it's like on a down slope and no green to work with, and somehow I just barely got it over the lip, and it just rolled by the hole like a putt, and about 4 feet away, and I missed it. And Richard missed his putt, so we go to 13. Somehow I birdied that, and somehow he didn't. It's a par 5, And historically, Council Fire, I usually play it okay until I get to about number 13 or 14. That bag 9 just kills me every time. But this year, that's where I started playing.
That's when you start making your bank in there.
I think the drugs kicked in or something about hole 11, and I started playing golf.
So
birdie 13.
And now you're 1 up.
Yeah, we both have 14 with pars, which was pretty good considering the chips we had to face, and that pin was back left.
Oh, they love that back left.
Oh man! And if you hit it at the flag, it's off the green. So we both came up just short. So now we've got a chip over a hill.
I figured out how to do it. If you aim out to the right and you hit it on the green, now you've got an impossible putt.
Yeah, we both had to make like 10 footers for par just to have the hole with a par. And so I guess I'm still 1 up at this point. And I hit it. They hit the tees kind of back on 15. It wasn't on that new tee,
Thank goodness.
but it was still playing like 4. If it starts with 4, I'm gonna have a problem with it, you know. And so
fours with fours in front.
I pull it. I'm trying to hit it hard, so I hook it over there, and they've got a couple of bunkers to the left. I'm between them. I'm on a little zoysia strip between them.
Okay.
But I'm like 228 out. And I remember hollering over to Mike, who was sitting in the cart watching, and I said, Mike, nothing good happens from 228. It's like they say nothing good happens after 12 o'clock or whatever. Nothing good happens from 228 on a par 4. Now, Richard's over there just short of the right-hand bunker. And so I whack it down there, and I've got 80 yards, and I'm still just barely in the rough. As a matter of fact, I'm just barely out of the fairway, and I had to look, how the rough was there. I'm looking for my ball, finally find it. It's buried, of course. And I look back, and Richard's got a rake in his hand. I thought, what's he doing with a rake? He wasn't in the bunker. Well, he cold topped it or something, and now he's in the bunker.
Oh, no.
And so then he hits a third shot out to the fairway somewhere, and then he knocks it up there pretty good, about 15 feet or something. But he's laying 4. Well, I'm in the rough laying 2, and I knock it up there at about 8 or 10 feet and make par pretty good up and down out of that heavy rough. So now I'm 2 up.
Yeah, you're 2 up with 3
going to the devilish 16th hole, which to me is like always been one of the hardest holes in Chattanooga. But I hit the prettiest little shot you ever saw. They got the pin way back left, and I knew better than the mess of that left side, because you can get all kind of nasty stuff down there by that creek.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hit it up on the right side, and it took the slope, rolled all the way around to about 15 feet from the hole, dead pin high. And sure enough, Richard had a bad lie in the rough, and he chopped it down there short of that big bunker on the left, and now he's got some crazy shot to, where he does good to make a 5 on the hole. And I happened to make the birdie.
Yeah, you made.
All I had to do is 2-putt, basically.
Said that we had video documentation.
Yes,
of it.
yes,
always. And Richard, being the gentleman he is, was very gracious in the field.
Oh yeah. Well, like I say, he's beat my butt for 39 years. He can lose once.
Well, he lose one every now and then. Yeah, he probably wouldn't. He probably wouldn't agree with that. Part about
he wouldn't like that at all. But Richard, historically, I do remember him saying he hated match play. This is back in the day, so I assume his feelings probably haven't changed a whole lot. But
he's awful tough, though. He's a tough one to get hold of. He's turned 65 now. Well, he is 65 now.
Well, good. He can get out of my division and go play Spitali.
He can go play with the super seniors.
Spitali and Baird and those guys.
I figured if I wait long enough, everybody that's been beating me, we'll just go on, move on to divisions.
When I became senior eligible, I thought, this is going to be great. And then I looked around and I said, wait a minute. I'm playing the same guys that's been kicking my butt forever, and now most of them are retired and they play golf every day. Yeah. It's like, this is not good.
Well, I know it's the same thing when I get up there. I went, damn, these are the same guys who were kicking my ass when I was in the regular division.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the way the tour works as well. If you can't beat them when you're 20, what makes you think you're going to beat them when you're 50 or 60?
So that's a big victory. I mean, you beat a solid field. I mean, probably the strongest field of the year.
Yeah.
What does that do for your confidence moving forward?
Well, I've never lacked confidence. I mean, I'll say that I don't hit it good, but I'm confident as hell. I think I'm going to hit a good shot, and that's part of it. And that tournament, that's what I was doing. It's just like every shot I can hit this shot. Even though I was in the heavy rough or whatever. Or I can make this putt. So, but it just winning, I mean, I'm sure it will help my confidence, But then on the other hand, now you got expectations. It seems like I play better when I don't have any expectations. And I didn't really have any for the whole week.
Right.
I was lucky to be invited, or privileged to be invited. I guess I earned it. And then, I qualified, so I earned that. Yeah. And then, won some matches, so...
If you win that tournament, you've earned it.
Yeah, but
it's not like you can just. It's like a 2-round tournament where if you play great the first round and you could kind of hang on or something.
Right.
I mean, you got to play good every round there, because if you don't play good in the qualifier, you're not going to get in.
Right.
You can't shoot 78 and get in.
Nope.
The field was too good.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think 76 got in.
Yeah.
And when we were out there playing, I thought 78 or 9 would get in.
Yeah.
But then I'm looking at my scores on my phone, I'm going, geez.
Yeah. Well, one thing I've noticed, Zeb, over the last 30 or 39 years that I've been playing golf, I used to play in a lot of state qualifiers, state AM, and even USGA mid-AMs and that. Well, AMs before mid-AMs. And back then, you could qualify. If you shot 78 or 79, you were in the state tournament. You were in the state open or state amateur. And now, buddy, you better be under par or close to it.
It's funny you say that. I qualified this year for the regular division Tennessee match play at Cleveland. I shot even par and had to go into a playoff to get that last spot. and a funny story, I parred the last hole and I thought, well, I'm in for sure. And I get in there and I'm like, you're in a playoff. And so I go to the first hole with this guy, and he shows up, and he's kind of got these like high top golf shoes on, and he walks up to the first hole at Cleveland with a 3-wood, and I thought, well, I could see that he's really long, and then they came over and said, hey, Mike. I think Mike was running the playoff. He said, hey, we're going to go to 10 because there's some members that teed off, and so we go to 10. He keeps that 3-wood in his hand. I'm like, well, he's not very straight. Oh, good gravy. This guy's name is Josh Ernest. And he is a hell of a player.
Yeah, I've heard that name.
And he hit that 3-wood, and I hit my driver pretty good, and I was about 40 yards behind him.
Wow. Welcome to my world, big boy.
Yeah, I'm sitting there from like 230, and I'm going, well, I'm thinking he's not going to be hitting a 3-wood here. He's down there with an iron in his hands. And luckily, I made birdie, and I ended up winning. But the point is you're right. Everybody's gotten good.
Yeah,
I find it just amazing how good it is.
Well, so you're in a good spot because you're in the senior division now, but you still can move it. I mean, you hit a good long ball.
Well, I've always driven it pretty good and straight. But still, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you got to shoot a score.
Yeah, but it does matter.
It's funny. You play the tournaments we're playing around here. The golf they're set up a little shorter. When you get to state level, it seems like they're set up a little bit longer.
Yeah, you go to a senior tournament, you're playing 6,700 yards. And what happened? I'm a senior.
I was just talking to Steve Johnson. Steve Johnson just finished second at the Dale Morey Invitational at Pine Needles. It's a thing called the Society of Seniors, and you get world ranking points there. And I asked him, and I was supposed to be there, and I got sick and didn't get to go. And he said, because I couldn't believe how long it played. 6,900, 6,800 yards they played from. It's just so apparently at the national level now, everybody's playing at these senior events at 6,800 yards.
Shout out Pine Needles, Chris Mittmeyer. He's the superintendent.
Okay, there you go. Cool.
Anyway,
This has been great. I mean, I got to know you a little bit better. This is our very first ChatGolf.com podcast, and I knew when I did a podcast you were going to be the first guy I asked.
Well, I'm honored, and I do need to ask. I know you've probably got a pre-packaged introduction and everything, but I'd just like you to take a minute and tell us about what's going on with this new website you got, ChatGolf.com.
Well, the thing that started, as I was playing in these things, and when I played, when I turned pro. And I was in Memphis, and I came back, and I was like, golly, our coverage is nothing.
Yeah.
And it used to be, and I've got a scrapbook, 2 or 3 scrapbooks up there full of stuff.
Right.
If you between Eddie Davidson and Sam Woolwine, we had the most amazing coverage, and people across the state would comment on it.
Yeah.
And that's what made I thought was just made it tight. I mean, we all knew who Harold Lane was and Lou Emig.
Yeah, I grew up reading the clippings every day.
That stuff.
This is before I even played golf. I knew who Harold Lane was.
Right, and it made you, as a kid, even want to be. I want to be like that. It was just such a and then of course when the newspapers merged and all the fun, it's just basically nothing.
Right.
Mike's done a great job with if you like golf in the golf hour still, but there's still the average guy doesn't know. And I thought, there's we got so many good players in town. Yeah. I mean, Brendan Wilson wins the Tennessee Mid-Am. The Brock girl, she wins the U.S. Nobody knows anything about these people.
Jeff Sherrill knows.
Yes, he does.
Jeff Sherrill needs to be on this show.
Well, he will be. There ain't no doubt about that.
We need to petition Zeb to get Jeff on here.
I won't even, when Jeff comes, I'll just turn the thing mic on.
Nobody knows Chattanooga golf like Jeff now.
No, he
keeps up with it.
Well, him and Tom Schreiner, the two of them are so we're going to get both those guys on here. But yeah, so we want to take this thing and just really try to be like it was in the old days, but do it on a digital format. We are using Facebook. It's going to be a huge part of us being able to get this information out. It's free. We're not charging anybody for it.
Right.
but we've had, we launched this last week where it finally went to where people could see it, and we had a really good response so far.
Well, I saw your story about little Gibby. I wouldn't have heard that.
Right.
I wouldn't have known it if you hadn't posted it.
So you have to, I got just enough knowledge to know where everybody kind of is.
Right.
I'll have to have help. And when I say help, I mean I need kids, parents, and stuff to text me or write me and go, "Hey, my son's here." Once I start learning their names, then it'll be easier to pick up. The one advantage we had over what Sam and Eddie didn't have is we have the internet.
Correct.
We have cell phones. We
Yes.
have, so it's easy to gather this information. I don't have to send reporters out.
Yeah.
And still be able to give these kids the coverage they need, and it's fun to do.
I remember Eddie Davidson, the day after Gary Robinson was the head pro at Moccasin Bend back in the day. This is in the 80s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he won the state open, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so the next Monday morning, Eddie Davidson's in the pro shop interviewing Gary. And I was down there trying to buy a set of golf clubs.
Mm-hmm.
My first set of clubs I ever bought, Hogan PCs. This is 1984.
Sure.
And I said, I'm going to wait till this interview. Gary's going to be on such a high that he's going to give me a good rating on these clubs. And the first thing I did, now Gary knew I wasn't much of a player at that time. And so he says, what are you looking at? And he's over there handing me a ping or something,
Sure.
Game improvement. And I said, I like the look of these Hogans. I'd always been a Hogan guy, He says, hey, if you like the looks of them, he said, that's 90% of it right there.
Yeah, it was.
And so,
I remember I played Hogan Apex Irons all through college.
But yeah, Eddie was always following the game. And who was it? Ernie? Was it Ernie? Ernie Fagans? He was, who was it had the radio thing that, I think it was Ernie Fagans of the Free Press. Eddie worked for the Times, and then the guy worked for the Free Press. Of course, Ernie Fagans he had that Hold That Line show too about football.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I remember Ernie, one time they had the Provident Classic over there at Valley Brook. The pros are in town.
Sure.
And they had that rough up so high. I mean, it was ungodly, Zeb. I'm telling you. That Bermuda rough, it had to be 5 or 6 inches. You could
Sure.
drop a ball in there and lose it. And so we're all like, oh, what are these? This is going to kill these pros. Let's see what the pros do. First group off the thing, Ernie's got the microphone. Here he is. Here's the first group. Joey Sindelar. That's a 62. Nice round, Joey.
Yeah.
He says, what? And he gets around to it. He said, what do you think about the rough? And he said, I don't know anything about the rough.
It wasn't that rough. No.
He was just hitting irons all day
hitting
long.
one irons all day. He could hit that thing.
Hitting those AccuForm irons.
God, I can remember that guy could hit that one iron like 280 or something.
Yeah.
We were all just going, Jesus.
God, I watched Bill Glasson over there, and we followed him for a day or two. And in 72 holes, he hit 68 greens. And I remember the Sunday we followed him, and he hit them all. And
Who won that year?
I can't remember. That might have been when, one year, Blackmar and Payne Stewart were in a playoff.
And John Daly won there one year.
No, he didn't win, but he played.
No, that was the That was the year that, because I know John, and John and I were talking about it, and he said that and it was raining, and and they were just about to call it, and Buddy Henry came in and said something to him. He's like, "John, we're about to call this thing," and he was going to win. And then he's like, the second I turned around, here comes the skies are opening up, and it was just perfect.
Oh, I remember one year Rocco was like second place, Rocco Mediate. And I remember Bill Bergen playing really good in it one time. Now he's designing. Oh, that's another thing I was going to ask you, Zeb. Tell me about this business you got with the, I assume they're artificial putting greens.
Right. Pure Greens and Turf is the name of our company. And we build artificial putting greens. And we do artificial turf lawns and pet runs. We just finished a job for the Humane Society of Chattanooga and replaced all their natural grass with artificial turf in their kennels. But we've built over 50 putting greens already.
I've seen some of your work, and it looks pretty good. Now, can you imagine, just imagine the amount of publicity you'd get from a social influencer like the Birdman if you were to build one of those in the Birdman's backyard?
Sure. That probably would.
Or maybe even in my basement or in my living room.
The thing is, you don't need to putt any better.
Oh, yeah. Always working on the putting.
Brett, this has been a blast. This went by really fast.
Well, Zeb, I'm honored that you'd have me on your show, especially as the first guest. And so I look forward to see what you do in the future with your website, and I'll be listening to all your podcasts. And so thanks for having me.
All right, buddy. See you later.
All righty.